Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the Beyond Bitcoin Show. Today is August the 25th, 2018. Strong hand. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Personal responsibility is the new counterculture. Conviction. All right, as you can see, I'm wearing the Bitcoin Solutions shirt, bitcoinsolutions.ca. My buddies up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I just given them shout outs because I do appreciate how they gave me this t-shirt, and you can check them out. Obviously, linked to below. Everything I talk about in this video is linked to below. Get your Trezor, your t-shirts, affiliate links. All right, here is a link to below. Also is this video, "The Age of Emotional Incontinence" by Paul Joseph Watson. And I got to say, emotional incontinence really does sum up some of the reactions we get out there from the 80%ers these days, these overreactions. They make these videos where they're crying and screaming about the smallest of matters. Everybody wants that attention. Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, so they become overly emotional. And it's just emotional incontinence to say this is mainstream society today, is emotional incontinence. If you are a self-aware, self-confident person who takes personal responsibility and doesn't cry and scream about everything, you're an outlier. But again, personal responsibility is the new counterculture, and we're proud of it. So pound that freaking like button. On that same note, economic invincibility, a guy who's got a really good channel, he came up with the term, the emotionalists. Yeah, it's a good way to describe the mainstream people, the emotionalists. Don't be an emotionalist. Okay, so over at the Market Ticker, a blog that I like to read because of some of the financial and some of the health tips that Carl Denninger talks about. He's not right about Bitcoin, I'll tell you that. But his latest is no, voting will not do it. And he's talking about the situation, the illegal immigration situation, how that woman was murdered by an illegal immigrant. And there are a bunch of people who are saying, well, we got to vote more people into office who will make it harder on the illegal immigrants, and then we won't have this situation anymore. And he says they need a general, everyone should go on a general strike. Okay, that's great, Carl. I agree that voting will not do it. If you think voting is going to solve your problems, and if you're obsessed over these group issues, again, you as an individual, you cannot solve illegal immigration. You can't go to the border and stop every illegal running in here, okay? But you can take personal responsibility and get yourself into a situation where you're not going to have to worry about these group issues. You get financially secure. You're always on the move. You're not going to be near where there's crimes, or you're not going to be near where there are illegal immigrants if you're annoyed by illegal immigrants. I think the point that Carl Denninger is making, that at least what I derive out of it, is that don't glorify voting. Don't glorify these politicians. No, voting isn't that great. I mean, there's so many people that think it's like right next to God forbid. But I mean, they consider it like like the ultimate mitzvah, the ultimate good deed is to vote. I mean, it's the greatest thing you can do. And if voting is messed with, it's just it's a travesty to the world. No, that's not that. It's more important to take care of yourself than to vote on group issues or to vote in these psychopaths or sociopaths that are they're going to try to get you, keep you dependent on them. You want personal responsibility. Not caring about voting is one step closer to personal responsibility. So I mentioned those three things on purpose. I want to mention them first. People getting emotional, people caring about voting too much, people putting politicians on pedestals. Because right before this show started, I found out that John McCain died. And I mean, now everyone, first of all, he's had cancer for a long time. They've had his obituary written for years. For years. Everyone knows he was going to die of cancer eventually. This is like a given. This is why you shouldn't get into that situation. You should take care of yourself. You shouldn't he stayed out in the sun, I think. I don't know. He developed some, he wasn't a great guy, whatever. I'm not putting him on a pedestal. I'm not worshiping him. And, there are probably videos out there right now, people crying that John McCain is dead. Who cares? Dude, take care of yourself. The thing you should care about is see the life that he lived. Try to live a better life, a healthier life. He died. How old was he? Early? I don't know. I don't care how old he was. But again, it's just funny now. It's such a shock. Oh, everyone's going wild. It's been in the cards for a while. He's just a regular dude. Just because he was a senator, just because people voted for him and gave him, who cares? Who cares? He's dead. So again, don't waste your time on these type of things. Spend your time on yourself, making yourself better. Let all the 80%ers make videos. Oh, I miss McCain, or I hated it, McCain. Oh yeah, okay. Let them. There's a group. They're distractions. These collectivist issues. McCain is a collectivist issue. Voting collectivism. All right. So remember, pound that like button. Check me out on Twitter at TechBalt, TechBalt. Disruptmeister.com. You can watch all my old videos. And remember, every Saturday is the Beyond Bitcoin show. We go beyond Bitcoin. This week in Bitcoin was yesterday. It was awesome. Juan Galt was lost in the woods, apparently. I just found out today. He didn't make the show, but the other two guests were great. Ansel and Kevin were great. And so I'm Bitcoin Meister on Steemit. Okay. So yeah, check out the links below. Check out disruptmeister.com. Pound the like button. Subscribe to the channel. So control and power is what politics and mainstream life is about. Opt out of it. Opt into Bitcoin. Bitcoin has nothing to do with controlling others and power over others. It's personal responsibility. It's bettering yourself. I mean, that's what I can't stand about mainstream society. I mean, it's about power monger. It's about people having control over you. It's about people shaming you so they have control over you so they can shape you. Again, if you're able to opt out and get into the Bitcoin overlay, you don't care about this stuff anymore. You don't care about fitting in anymore. You don't care about politics anymore. You spend time on yourself and you spend time on bettering yourself and bettering your life. It's great. It's great being truly independent, truly free from that mainstream matrix and the emotionalists out there. I mean, you can be as logical as you want to in the Bitcoin overlay. So here is, speaking about power, Jeffrey Tucker, who is a famous libertarian, who I almost saw in Tel Aviv. He was at the same place I was. We missed each other by a minute. That was last year now. But whatever, I'm adding that randomly. Anyway, he was on the Dave Rubin show. I linked to it below. He was on part 1 and part 2. And he said the ideology of power has become a modern cancer that afflicts everyone. Well said. Well said. But you can prevent that cancer. Don't get caught up in those power games. But if you do get caught up on it, it is a cancer, man. It rots away your soul. It rots away your dreams. If you get caught up in this politics thing and trying to fit in. So I was thinking to myself, again, I go from Airbnb to Airbnb. I don't have a home anymore. I just travel around the whole world. It's awesome. But, there's studios and then there are 1-bedrooms. And the only difference is, a 1-bedroom, you got a studio, you can see your kitchen, basically. You can see your kitchen. You don't have a door to your bedroom. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you're a guy, if you're a real man, you have you're traveling around with your suitcase. You don't need a lot of space. What's the darn difference between a 1-bedroom and a studio? It's all about status. The studio is cheaper. Get the studio. I will always get. I don't care if it says studio or 1 bedroom. I'm going to get the cheapest thing that is of good quality, that is clean, okay? That's got my kitchen in it, that's got my own bathroom in it, okay? Totally private. That's what I require. But do I care between a studio and a 1 bedroom? There's so many people out there, in New York City, like, well, I've got a 1 bedroom, not a studio. That's about social proof and status. You're losing thousands of dollars because you want to show off to your friends that you have a 1 bedroom instead of a studio. That is what the 80% is about. That is what the mainstream is about. Don't be that way. Be a 20%er. Live in a freaking studio. It doesn't matter. There's no difference between a 1 bedroom and a studio. You see your kitchen. If you don't have many, you shouldn't have that many possessions anyway. They should be able to fit into your studio or into your 1 bedroom. You got a closet, okay? It's just, I'm just thinking about it, when I'm looking for my next place to stay and everything. But it just brings up a bigger point about this. People with social proof. They want to post it on Facebook, their big 1 bedroom instead of their studio, their cramped studio. All right. In the world of YouTube, or in the world of in life in general, and I see Vention MGTOW is in the chat right now. How you doing, Vention? He'll know about this. They're the nitpickers, and then they're the people who do. Okay. The nitpickers are like, hey man, your video, well, why is it dark in your video? You should use a better light. They don't care about the content at all. And then I'll say, well, you can make your own video and with your own type of lighting, right? And they'll never do it because they're not doers. All they do is they sit around and they nitpick. That's what they do. So, and it's totally unproductive. They're not in motion. They nitpick. But that's what you're gonna have to deal with in life. You're gonna have to deal with the nitpickers. Don't let them slow you down. Don't let them slow you down. Keep doing things the way you're going to do it. No fancy set of graphics here. And if nitpickers want to nitpick, they can nitpick. They're not getting anywhere. I'm in motion. I'm trying to get other people in motion. But hey, nitpickers, there's your tip of the day. Do something with yourselves. Or you can just watch YouTube video after YouTube video and tell people they're bald or fat or they're dark. You decide. Personal responsibility is a new counterculture. All right. I was reminded today is today's the 25th, but I guess in some parts of the world it's already 26th. But the 25th of August is Uruguayan Independence Day. And I forgot to say yesterday, happy Noche de Nostalgia. The night before Uruguayan Independence Day is Noche de Nostalgia. It's the middle of winter down there. So they all go out and party. And like it's a nostalgic night. They have 70s and 80s parties. And I actually was there in 2013 and I partook in the Noche de Nostalgia with Ricardo. You guys remember Ricardo? Cousin Ricardo down there. My very distant cousin who lives down there. And of course, I love my cousins in Uruguay who have, of course, despite living in a distant country from the epicenter of Judaism, have kept their Judaism through the years. I am so proud of the Jews of Uruguay who have never given up their Judaism, who have never, tried to fit in, despite the anti-Semitism of the area. In 1994, the Iranians blew up the Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and the Jewish communities of Uruguay and Argentina take huge precautions in front of their buildings. They have these big, they got fences, they got big barriers so you can't drive bombs into them and stuff. Anyway, I wasn't even going to talk about that tonight, but yeah, Uruguayan Independence Day. Happy Uruguayan Independence Day to all of you down there in Uruguay. Well, not you, not the anti-Semite ones that like thought it was cool to like hide Nazis and stuff. I'm not down with you dudes. And literally, I mean, in Uruguay and Brazil and Argentina, they were hiding Nazis at one point. It was great. And once the Mossad, the people you guys are all paranoid about, they actually did lead a Nazi out of Brazil into Uruguay so they could kill him in Uruguay because they would have get in less trouble that way or something. It was glorious. He was you can look him up. He was a Latvian Nazi. They tricked him from going to. He was hiding in Brazil. Well, he wasn't even hiding in Brazil. He was openly. He used his his Latvian name in Brazil, and but then they got him into Uruguay and they just killed him. It was great. They said this is your trial, and they left a note on his body. Yeah, so sometimes the Mossad does do things, but most of the things you guys are paranoid about them, it's like insane. But the little things they do like that, it's great. They're just, it's a little country, They do some things that scare people, and it just makes you want to seem bigger than you really are. They do a really good job at that, the Mossad. All right, so let's go back. I wasn't even going to talk about any of this stuff today. What is this? Okay, Jeffrey Tucker. Who do you hate? Who do you like? Who do you hate? Don't be a part of that game, he says. We get caught up into taking these sides, very emotional sides. Oh, Vention MGTOW just sent $5 super chat. I want to travel like that as well, but as roving mechanics for permacultural communities and organic farms. Yes, Vention, I know you've mentioned that in your videos before. That would be quite an entrepreneurial endeavor there. Man, I'm going from town to town, fixing cars, fixing trucks, charging Bitcoin, permaculture communities, or helping people on their organic farms. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. I say go for your dreams, Vention. I think you can do it, man. I think you should really quit your job immediately, to tell you the truth. I don't even know why you work there anymore. Your Bitcoin will treat you well in the future. But I mean, you've got your economics figured out. I don't know all your money situation and everything. But there was at one point you gave too much information one day, and I actually calculated how much Bitcoin you had. But so anyway, let's go. But then, I'll continue. So pound that like button. So yeah, Jeffrey Tucker was talking about right-wing collectivism. I linked to that one. Making up enemies. You don't have to have enemies, people. Don't get caught up in the enemies game. Try to better yourself. Okay, speaking of MGTOWs, I heard the song Faking It by Simon and Garfunkel, and I linked to it below. And it's got some real life lyrics in it that relate to MGTOW. And the funny thing is, it's a good song. It's 50 years old now. Simon and Garfunkel's songs from back in the day, 50 years old. That's amazing. I mean, and Jim Morrison and the Doors, their songs are now 50 years old. I think they did some in 1967 and 68, right? Yeah, it wasn't just 1969. But anyway, listen to "Faking It" by Simon and Garfunkel. Good song. It's got some MGTOW lyrics in it. So we live in a situation where people are, again, this is about putting voting on a pedestal again, where how could another country meddle in our elections? So let's just say that's the way war is being done these days between countries. And I'm not the biggest fan of nation states, but if that's our biggest problem, nations going to war against other nations by trying to mess with elections, compare that to the alternative of a nuclear war. Okay. So let everyone be distracted by some country messed with the elections, maybe, sort of. They didn't really waste your time with that. It's better than having nuclear wars. If countries are gonna actually do that, let them do that. I don't give a darn. Who cares if you interfere with I don't care if you interfere with the election. I'm taking care of myself here, dude. All right. Let them be distracted. Let us live. Okay. I'd rather have these electoral wars than these sociopaths saying, well, we got to nuke this other country now. We got to nuke Russia. We got to nuke China, and then they're going to, and the whole world's going to end. So think of that. The next time you start wasting your time worrying about election meddling or whatever, think of it that way. It's better that people are meddling in elections, trying to influence elections, which, I mean, again, who cares about elections? They're not changing your life in a major, you could take control of your own life. Personal responsibility is new counterculture. Okay. So the Rodolfo Novak has a tweet out there. Don't like how your employer does things? Start a business. Understand the challenges and call your own shots. Yeah, that's great. If you don't like your bosses, then just start your own business. It's hard to run a business. It's hard to be a boss, apparently. Be your own boss. Start your own business. Call your own shots if you don't like how the shots are being called. Take personal responsibility. Oh man, this video is going long, but this is something I really wanted to talk about here. I linked to this article below. 52.1% of kids in the United States live in households getting means-tested government assistance. So over half of all kids are living in households where they're learning that it's totally fine to be dependent on the government for something, whether it be food or housing. So, it's ridiculous. A lot of you don't live in the United States. this welfare stuff is out of control. They get everything, free phones, free food, free. It is, they can't even wipe their own butts anymore. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And it's just going to grow. More and more people are getting used to this as something that's normal. If 52.1% of kids are seeing this in their house, they don't have dads. This is their dad. This is, oh, the government gives me something. I'm used to this. I'm entitled to this. I better get this. So, I mean, this country is becoming more and more of a collectivist haven for collectivists. And James Del Garrico just sent me $1.99 super chat. Thanks, dude. Good to see you again. He says, non-nitpicking. You better believe it, dude. You better believe you're non-nitpicking. You're in motion, man. But so I don't know what to say. We're going to get more. I mean, I talk about 80%ers. You know, the low end of the 80%ers are just growing and growing. Hey, man, for me as an individual, I just got to avoid dealing with such people. I just move away from them. I mean, you know, I used to live in Baltimore City. I used to have to, everybody was on, you know, living in the housing authority of Baltimore City House, or getting some sort of welfare, and I don't deal with it anymore. I moved from city to city. I live in nice places. I hear again in Spokane. I mean, it's beautiful. It's safe. I don't see, I mean, downtown, I saw some, probably some public housing or something like that. But I mean, again, I'm not around. If you're one of those people who are just like, no, the government should be providing. There's no shame in getting a government check and letting the government wipe my butt. I'm not going to deal. You know what? I'm going to shun you. I'm not going to deal with you. That's my thing. I'm not going to worry about you too much. All right. But I did want to bring up that is, hey, it's only growing, man. For everyone that's saying, yeah, everyone's discovering Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to free the world, dude. No, Bitcoin's going to free the 20. It's just going to make the 20%ers more independent. The 80%ers are going to be more dependent on this, on the welfare dollar. That is again, everyone talks about the petrodollar. That's what's pumping up. That's what keeps the dollar alive. The oil system. No, the system that keeps it alive is the welfare system. They value their wealth in dollars. Oh yeah, they love it. They keep on printing more and more dollars to support these programs, and there are plenty of takers of it. They don't care if their dollars are being inflated away, just as long as they're getting free stuff, and they'll be able to maintain that forever. And no, they're not suddenly going to become individualist and treasure Bitcoin and understand what savings is about and store. It's I mean, hey, if you want to waste your time trying to teach them and reach out to them, that's great. That's great. You do that, and maybe you'll be successful. That's not my cup of tea. So yes, so much is about social proof today. Don't do something just to get social proof. That is the ultimate 80%er. If you've gotten rid of the need of social proof, then you are free. There's so many people who have to go on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and post a picture of their house or their wife or their car. Who cares about your car? Who cares about your wife? Who cares about your house? Who cares about the pictures, the 2,000 pictures you took here, the 2,000 pictures you took? I travel around a lot. I hardly post any pictures of this stuff. Yeah, I post ironic pictures, funny pictures, Bitcoin pictures, maybe a picture of me with one of my friends from South Africa or Zimbabwe or whatever. But I mean, some people just make it their life. They have to put it all out there on social media. They have to have proof that they did this. They have to have proof that they went out with that girl, that they ramped that girl or whatever. No, man, that's not. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for the social proof. Okay, social proof is for 80%ers. And someone who uses that term a lot again is economic invincibility. That's why I'm bringing it up. And I think he's a smart guy. He's got a good channel. And I didn't link to it below, but you can Google him, YouTube, search him out, pound that like button. All right. Finally, well, there's two things. The great Arjun, who's been on my show, had this tweet. Focusing on alternative primary education is much more important than discussing the failures of higher education. I love it. No regrets. Keep creating, dude. It's a great philosophy for life. Instead of complaining about the failures of higher education, just make Focus on alternative primary education. Focus on a whole new route to avoid getting into the failures of higher education. You know, how do you teach your young people, educate them in a way so they don't have to get forced into this system, so they can make up their own, they can go their own way and don't have to get into the high school system, the college higher education system, which has a lot of problems right now. That is awesome. If you spend your time complaining, you're not going to change anything. If you spend your time innovating some new way of beginning things, that's just great. That's truly in motion. All right. So finally, I was on that Simon & Garfunkel kick, and I also linked to A Hazy Shade of Winter below. That's another good video. And another video I saw earlier this week, which has nothing to do with Simon & Garfunkel at all, is Obsession by Animotion, which is a great 80s song for all of you who like 80s songs. And I think one day I started singing Obsession during I've made so many of these darn videos. I've made over 1,000 Bitcoin videos. And this is my, 21st Beyond Bitcoin video here. So yeah, I don't know I don't even remember all the 80s songs or 90s or 2000 songs that I have sung on this show before. And people, don't sing, Adam. I won't sing today. All right, guys. Individualism is the achievement. Collectivism is the default. I actually brought that up on the This Week in Bitcoin show with Kevin and Ansel. Check that out. It's linked to below. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the notes section below. And as Stefan Molyneux said, live by principle, not by popularity. I'll say hi to you dudes in the chat right now. Bye-bye.